Hello, comrades. It's Premier Ever, and I am back again. But this time we're going to do something very different, as you probably can tell from the title, the Grand Train Tour. We are by Old Revergrad, which you can't really see too well. There it is. Maybe you can see the yellow writing. And this is where it all began. So I'd like to take this train, and I set up a course that we can go through that should take us all around the map. And as we go, I may pause a little bit and just talk about something, but for the most part, we're just going to drive through. Now, I have tried the different cameras, and I think that we're going to be better off staying in this, like, hover around the vehicle, just because if you watch, it's awful janky in the first person at times, and I think we'll get a little bit better overview of things, but I will jump into that first person view at times, just for the sake of it. Now, one thing I would like to do to start out, since this is a tour, is explain to you guys where we're at on the map and just point out this, because I know some people like to see how much of the map I've taken over, which, you'd have to say probably a good third of it. And when you talk about like what's usable and whatnot, I mean, we could probably double the size, but we've, you could argue we've kind of taken over close to half the map, maybe not quite. There are certainly areas that we haven't, but, a good amount of this all in here is mountains, and we got, so if you look at, like, the usable area, it's certainly significant. In any event, so we are up here. At this moment, we're facing south, and like I said, this is where it all began. One little road over here into Neuve Revergrad. We started by Importska right here, because that was an American or / NATO port where we could only get dollars, right? So that put a challenge on us at the time. In order to get, at this point, we got all the way down to here to get to one of the closest, we could have gone north too, but we went to one of the closer ports that was a Soviet port where we could start getting rubles, because if we didn't do that, our ability to purchase vehicles would have been difficult. So when we first started out, we started building a road, and I didn't want to use just dirt roads. I actually want to build the road because I feel like the dirt roads are, a little bit, they're not cheaty. But I wanted to make it a little bit harder by having to actually build the roads. We ended up building a road all the way down here along this corridor, which we'll go through next. But in doing so, these fields weren't here at the time, but we did they weren't as many, but we did have a farm here. We started getting Old Revergrad going, and then we started working over here to Kamin and Energinisk with the idea of being able to get more self-sufficient, right? So we have stone and prefab panels, and there's a coal mine up here. Our power plant was right near Old Revergrad, but we eventually built another power plant over here. But this is Energinisk in general, where we had our oil field right up in this area. Hopefully you guys can see sort of what I'm pointing at, but this is our oil field. We also had our steel mill over here. Eventually we put some plastics factory there. This was not here. This is the Gateway Love distribution area. But at that point, at least we had the vast majority of the things that we needed. And we kept pushing our way along here. This is where Farminsky is, and then we have Chemsol over here. So as we realized we were going to get, we weren't fully self-sufficient at this point because we needed to still get electronics and whatnot. We had built a lot of this track. When we built track after we got our steel mill, this was all regular track through here. And then up here we put Lumbriska just because it was sort of out of the way at the time. We had started building up Farminsky as much as anything for a place to construct further from, because that becomes a problem when you get too far away. So we got some people over here, and we finally made our rail and road connections up to Molna, which is all the way over here. So then once this kind of got settled, like the next thing was, well, we needed to, like I said, if we wanted to electrify the tracks and kind of become fully self-sufficient, we needed to get to the point we had, the electronics and electrical components. So I started going over into this area. If you look, this is kind of mountainous, not real great as far as building. So like we could have kind of come up to this area, but this is where Neuve Revergrad. So this was like this is a pretty big flattish area that we could move into. So we built this road up here. Now this took a long time. This is where E225 is right here. So we built that, and then also at the same time, or around that same time, we started building these tunnels. There's 2 tunnels through the mountains, one here and one here. And that took like forever and a day. But we got the tunnels built, and eventually we got our electrical components going. So we got our chemicals built down here, and we could bring the chemicals up to here. We got our plastics over here. We could bring those plastics around. So we got to the point we could make electrical components. It was about this time we really decided to start, like we were basically self-sufficient. I said, well, let's build a grand city, and also while we're doing that, let's take some of these jammed in plastics and whatnot and take them, like plastics was sort of jammed in. Like we just, the steel mill was just, not really great. I don't even think there was trams at that time. So we started talking about, well, how can I take us to the next level, right? Where we have proper bread, right? We have proper auto manufacturing, and this is Plaster City. So, just another place to make prefab panels that's a little bit better organized and better constructed than Kameen was. And this is our bricks and 4 power plants, and we also have our power area down here. So you can see how I expanded around Neuve Revergrad right here, and this is a distribution to get things into Neuve Revergrad. And you guys hopefully have followed a good amount of the series, but there you go. There's the map. Now I'll try to leave this at a fairly decent size, and you guys can see where we're at. Hopefully, I don't know, is that pretty good? If you're on a iPhone, then sorry for you. You need a regular computer screen, I think, to see where we're at on the map. But in any event, like I said, I don't know. I'll probably leave this open at times. It's just sort of, I guess I could shove it down here. I'd like you guys to see where we're at, but I think you'll figure it out from what I'm saying. So yeah, my debate is, I don't really want to block the view. I guess maybe put it over here, and then we'll get it going, right? We'll zoom into him. Like I said, I'm going to stay close to the train, but I also want to leave it where you guys can see, right? So can I shrink this and keep my camera view? No. Really? Oh. I clicked right through it. Now can I shrink it? And then get out of here? Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, I was testing a little bit. There we are, first past our original train station. I'll have to, if I'm not in that first person camera, go over our rather complicated bridge. Now where we're heading to is the steel mill, since that's sort of going a little bit chronological in this. All right, but we're going past Old Revergrad here. And like I said, originally we did have alcohol production down here. There we go, that's a better view. A little hard to get that mouse in the right place. And we did have a farm over here, but nowhere near. Again, we kind of upped our alcohol production, and then not too long after we did that, I realized that it was sort of bad to give the people out. Well, it is kind of bad to give them alcohol. But then we built this new farm to kind of support our vodka production, and then it turns out in the long run, it ended up probably supporting our clothing more than our vodka, because we decided vodka was bad for people. Imagine that. So we're gonna go by Kameen. Like you can imagine, this was the road, right? And then one of these 2 was the original railroad tracks. And one of the reasons we have 2 railroad tracks is because if you're relying on your rail for your business, it's really hard to upgrade to electrical and have that rail still function. But this is all newer. This is NR or GW distribution, Gateway Love distribution, and here we are. This was not part. This is a later addition cut through when we did the NR distribution. I mean GW distribution. Sorry, guys. And then here we are coming in on Energenisk. Right. There's our original. Well, we really don't have another oil refinery. This is our oil refinery with our plastics to this side here. So this is where I was talking about. Oops, is that game save? And then our steel mill up on the hill there. There's all our oil rigs. Right, we should pull into the steel mill. Now I might need to reverse it if we can, if there's a train in there. But we could, maybe we'll come back out a little bit more. All right, let's spin around. So there's Energenisk up there, if you can see through the steel mill. All right. And this is where we're working now to get a little bit better train situation. We had a lot of traffic issues right in this area right here at one point. Kind of worked them out. We have our loop that goes all the way around by the clothing. So since we made that stop, let me just, you know what, if I open and close this, is it going to bump me out of there again? So now we're going to head over to Molna. So this is, okay, good. We stay in that mode. So there we go. So let's, there you go. Hope that looks like a nice view of Energenisk there. And I'll kind of stay in this angle, I think might be good. As we go by, you can see Kameen and what it looks like. And I know this isn't quite from the ground level, but like I said, this FPS camera is sort of, it's a little harder to see things. There you go. There's our cement factory, and prefab panels is behind it, and our quarries up there. Let's see, can I turn that way as we go by? All right, there's, you kind of saw it for a second, but there's Kameen, kind of blocking our view of everything else. Across the way is Moscow, which is new, making our new meat manufacturing area. That's the city for it. All right, and then here's our fine overkill. It doesn't look like too much overkill. Oh, let's look up this way for a second. There's our Moo farm and our manufacturing for meat. Overlooker. Yeah, this construction office burnt down here. This is one of the first buildings that was like where somebody told me, hey, look, your building burned down, and I couldn't figure out where the heck it was. There it is, right? And I think it was before the messages, if I'm remembering right. Look, I almost went to rebuild it, but that's that we built that construction so I could push further into here. And I think I might have built this power up to here. I forget exactly what we did for power, but they were coming in on Chemsol, and up over this way is Farminsky. But you can imagine us pushing across here. This was just like a single road. The tracks were kind of in different places. Sort of went more straight across by where the road is there. So that road comes over this way. We'll join back up with it. But there's Chemsol with our chemical plants up top there. Sorry, I know, well, you're not getting much time. I guess I could pause things, but sort of want to keep them moving too. So there's Farminsky. This is, we built Farminsky at the time because we just needed a place for people. Let's get back on the road, and then you can see Lumbriska maybe is up ahead, and this is where our farms are this was one of our bigger farms when we started to build, for bread and whatnot, like realizing we weren't going to have enough bread for people. And by the way, we just went past MB distribution, so that's another one of our distribution areas. We can see it maybe better when we come back, but there's Lumbriska. Kind of looks more up like on a hill. Oops, you know what? I'm going to try to get us out of the trees for a second. There you go. There's Lumbriska. We can't really see them, but off to the right would be right up here somewhere is going to be our, oh, there it is. There's one of our wood chopping facilities. And then we have the Gulag. Back in the day, it was hard for me to keep educated people because I didn't have so many universities in all the cities, or didn't have a solution for that at the time. So I had the Gulag so I could send people to the Gulag, and then that way they would, like I just have room to be able to move the educated people in. So more than one person went to the Gulag, but we're past that. We are a finer Soviet at this day. We don't need to send people to the Gulag. We just let them escape on their own, right? There we go, spun around. So this was like a big moment when we finally connected road and or rail, probably two big moments, where we could finally get some exports. And yeah, because we were running low on rubles. I really wasn't sure at a point if we were making it. So let's go take a look at this real quick after the game save stops. And so now we're going to head up to E225. So this was, imagine we had completed this and we were, we kind of had most everything we needed except for the electronic components and the and the electronics. But that, hey, we wanted to get that, right? That was the goal, self-sufficiency. So this was like the next step to really have to push in, was to do three things. Let me turn the camera a little bit more this way as we come up here. And you can see we built this tunnel, which is going to be right up on our left there. Let me zoom in now that we're out of the trees. Try to keep it as first person-y as we can, or third person-y. All right, there's our tunnel back over there. And then MB distribution is kind of a semi-new thing, but this was a construction supply area, so we could build Chemsol and those farms back there. But really what we were, at that point we built a road, and this really took a long time to get this road. You'll see as we go by Riverbend there's a construction office that we built so that we could keep just building up that way. So that's why I'm taking us up to E225 next. It's sort of, we've kind of done the tour of this. I think we may loop back around through here. I forget the exact tour plan. Turn this way. There's our train station, so we could keep building trains a little more efficiently. I think mostly so we could do it up this way, right? So we could build this line, because this, again, you can imagine like building all these roads, and fine, down here it was okay, but as we started getting further and further, see this Riverbend construction area, and then at the top of the hill there we have Heggiodal construction area as well, or construction office that was just there to, again, push us forward with being able to do a little bit of leveling and and just get a couple more vehicles a little further out there. Mostly, again, the problem is I don't think there's any real benefit, huge benefit, to building a construction office up the hill here, except for the fact of leveling, right? You had to be able to get in here and at least level a little bit to be able to get these things built. There we are, coming up over the hill. So we built a E225 construction area off to the left here. And then over the right, you can see down there is Electrical Town. This is all our new chemicals VOD. But the Electrical Town, so once we got this supply here, which wasn't quite as fancy, though it was close. I mean, I was going to do that with trains, so we were up to trains at this point. But none of this was electrical track because we didn't have, the electrical components that we were making. Now, when we get up here, I may pause it for a minute. Like, how about right now? All right, so here's a E225, and then there's our electrical town, because we're going to turn around and go back. But there we go. That's once we got this going, then we were able to make electrical components, and we were able to start electrifying the track, which is a bit of a nightmare as far as that goes. So I forget exactly where I told him to go. Okay, here. So we should. I was proud of this. Still am proud of this, where we can spin right around. I mean, this is kind of not overly complicated, but trains, the fact that it works, I don't even think about it anymore, but trains go in one end and come out the other. We didn't have that originally, and it was causing quite a few problems there as far as that goes. Yeah, we're kind of in the trees. Okay, there we go. There's our new up above plastics kind of area. Let's turn to face which way. Now, which way are we going next? Field ski. Okay, yeah, we're going to head back over this way. All right, so we're going to head back down this way, but it's a little bit hard to get around, but yeah, let's take a look at this again. Yeah, field ski and then bread stock, which is good because as we were building into E225, right, we were building our railroad tunnels that are going over down by the steel mill and then off to the right, that other tunnel that I was talking about, which we're about to go through. Like, we really realized that we needed more food if we were going to be self-sufficient. And that's where it started coming together with the plan, if we were to look at the map, where we would provide people for making bread, but then I realized we needed a good amount of crops at that point. So that's where field ski comes in. So let me be quiet for a half a second and we'll ride one up there. All right, here we are, pretty close, right? There's field ski. Oh, where is it? Yeah, it's over there somewhere. Why don't I see the... Oh, there it is. I couldn't see the name. I saw this Barcelo. But we should make a turn here past the bridge. All right, so we built this whole farm. Now, by the way, this was before the leveling got made easier. To give you guys... This took me like 2 hours to level this up and put all these fields in here. Oh, what do we... Okay, yeah, this is going to be a problem. I thought about this. All right, so can I get you to go to your next stop, maybe? Yeah, go to your next stop. Oh, can't get you to go that way. Okay, now that you're moving, will you... Yeah, go to that waypoint. Get out of my way. But yeah, this really took a long time getting these in here. It wasn't too long after this that... I mean, this was like an accomplishment and a half in the old days. Now you can just level the whole entire valley if you wanted to in the same time it took me to level this. And I considered that a real challenge. I wasn't one of the complainers when it came to the leveling system. And, you know, it was time consuming, but I guess people expect to be able to level things for some reason easier. Now, I will, like I've said since then in defense of the new leveling system that, and people have said to me, well, you don't have to level. It's like, well, yeah, but if you can. Like, I did all that hard work because I wanted to make it nice, right? Like, I'm not afraid of the hard work in that respect. And really, the proportions of the hills, you know, is really not overly great. But anyway, let's go back to our tour. So we built these. It's actually 2 tunnels. Yeah, so we're just waiting. I can see something's up there. Yeah, why are we waiting so long? I don't really see a lot of... Oh, there we go. This guy's coming out of the... I think that's a train right there. And that's a truck. Yeah, why are we waiting so long? Because this guy is blue. Oh, there he goes. You know, it probably was that train. Yeah, this isn't the most efficient intersection, but... You know, really don't have much traffic coming from this way, so it'd be nice to be able to do that when you're in traffic, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Like, do you ever get in traffic and you can't really see what's ahead and you're trying to stick your head out the window almost, or you're swerving left or right to try to get you know, a view of, is there an accident up ahead or what is it that's... Yeah, see, this is less than ideal where we're stopping that truck. This is why I tend to like bridges, especially over roads, is because this stuff really can kill your supply of things. And I'm not sure exactly why or what we're waiting on again, but it would be, well, yeah, there we go. It just seemed to make us wait. I didn't really see much of anything happen. I might take a look at why that's doing that, but we'll see. We'll get up through here and get into the into our tunnels. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like. We're probably just going to see like a clipping plane when we get into the mountain here, right? Ooh. Yep, there's the water underneath. By the way, when you build a video game, this is called a water plane, right? So this plane goes everywhere. Now, those trees, and just so you know, like you can see through this because there's a mesh, they call it, and you don't want to draw both sides of it, right? Like, because when we're out here in the open, so in other words, like this mesh that makes up the ground right there, is invisible on the other side because otherwise the computer would be thinking about that, right? So you only draw on, it's like painting on the top. You don't paint on both sides of the thing. Anyway, let's get back to the tour. So here is our train depot that we built over here, and coming up is Bredsky. There's our bread manufacturing plant. And again, this all kind of happened around the same time Revergrad was being designed, with the idea that Revergrad would provide people to here. And there's, you know what, I'm going to pause it for a second here because I do want to point out, let's go back a little bit out of view. So if you look at this, when I've built this, because I've kind of had a comment or two, nothing drastic, but a comment or two about, oh, I'd like to see the new area working, and it's certainly, but it's really kind of a tested method. So I'm pretty confident in what we did over by Bricksville, because we have the same idea over here. And I'm not going to get into it. Go watch one of those, or we'll be going over it in the next few days as we're doing that. But basically, we have our coal mines that prioritize our going to over to here to the power plants, and then whatever coal's not dropped off the power plants goes out into our coal bus loop train. So there we go. So there's our bread stock. Let's get our view back to about where it was and play again, right? And we'll go through here. This was, I wouldn't do it this way. Yeah, see, look, even this guy's like heading through here. I don't think I told him to go to this station. Yeah, this guy, and he got turned. See how I probably would have taken more time to level out more of the hill, or taken a little bit bigger area, maybe pushed it off to the left a bit. But yeah, see, like instead of coming up this way, we like cut through that station, and this is just, it could just use a little bit more room off to the right there. I told him to come to this stop here. But there we go. There's our bread manufacturing, and then see our coal mine up on the hill. Now, where are we going next? We're going to, waypoint. Yeah, the waypoint, there's no real stop over by the other portion. So you can picture we're pushing up towards Revergrad, facing the way that we are, which is west right now. And we were building the other tunnel that was all the way, like right now, all the way up over here, right? So what I needed at some point was another construction if we were going to do the auto manufacturing. Around that time, auto manufacturing became a thing. So we got our bread stabilized. We got some more, 2 more power plants over here going. We're working on our steel mills because we knew we wanted a lot more steel. Steel's always an issue. There we go, our first view of Neuve Revergrad, which, it's a big city, isn't it? Ooh, look at the red dot. Yeah, let's not turn that way. There we go. We got rail crossing, which I would like to improve a little bit as one of our last and final projects for the improvement of things. Just because it's really limited, and we got a lot of room here. We can certainly do some, make a pretty good size intersection if we wanted. There's our steel mills up on the hill there, and if we spin around this way. Oop, good, we're not in a hurry because we're waiting for that train, but there's electrical town, and we'll be here. I'll look up on the hill, looks nice. Petrokemsk, right? But there's Electronville is where we make our electrical components, and then a little bit further down we make there's our electronics being made over in that factory right there. Right, but this was sort of part of the original, like distribution and getting things through here. You can see I put a bridge over there thinking that this might be more of a main corridor, kind of overestimating a bit on how many trains would come in and out of here, because I think I decided it was better to go around, and we'll sort of do that next. But let's stay close to first person view. We've got plenty of or third person, you know what I'm saying, close to the ground, so you guys can see it if you were standing on a train, I guess. Like I said, doing the first person cameras, I think it's a little bit, I'd rather have a little more flexibility to look to the left or the right. There we go. So there's Tagliati. Now, I didn't necessarily plan the mechanical components immediately, but I knew we'd probably do something with this. But we needed some people, right? We needed to get people up here in order to really be able to construct. So it was like a pretty big struggle. Like we're kind of far away. Remember, we have that tunnel for the trains, but we didn't really have necessarily any people. And then we have the tunnel for the roads back over here, but we really needed, like I said, to get people so that we could come build all the way up over here. And at the time, it wasn't like that's one of the reasons we built that electrical town there and don't have people coming from Neuve Revergrad, because Neuve Revergrad wasn't there. There was no option. So we built electrical town here and Tagliati over here, so that we could a little bit more easily start building Autograd. That's pretty cool coming up the hill. I like that. Well, it's not very attractive, but none of it's overly attractive, is it? And there we go. So then we got or Autograd pushed in over here eventually, and once we had a few more people in here, it was much easier to get all of that stuff. There's our car manufacturing plants. We're going down into, obviously, Autograd Supply, where we drop off all the stuff by train. Yep. And then, let's see, can we see... Yeah, you can see Autograd, kind of, there we go. We'll get a view of it there. There's Autograd off in the distance. Now, where are we going next? Next, we're going all the way back to clothing. Yeah, this is the grand tour, isn't it? By the way, I have no idea how long this will take. We're just going to keep going. Hopefully, we don't run out of film before that. But there you go. There's Autograd. And I wanted to point this. I think we're going back to clothing because it's kind of chronological. I would like to take you guys on the tour. I think this will be a good point to. Let's go into this first-person camera because I don't think it should be a nice long straight ride. But we're going to head all the way back down to the clothing, and the reason is that sort of got built next, right? Because we realized, well, I needed more fabric and more clothing, and so let me be quiet for a minute until we until we get down there. Guys, I think it's pretty impressive that it took us, almost 3 minutes to get over here. Let's get out of this view for a second. All right, and there we go, coming up on, let's get that out of the way, our Clothingville. So we had to make this so we could get fabric, and clothing comes out of here. You can see our clothing train waiting there, and then we're back to Old Revergrad. But yeah, almost 3 minutes, not quite, like 2.5 minutes, I think. There's the clothing up on the hill, and I think we're going to spin in there real quick. Let's spin around this way and anticipate. Oh, that was like I coordinated that. All right, so we got this clothing. Now where we're going to go after clothing. New farm loc. Yep. So now we're kind of touring the new stuff, right? So this is like we're down in the same area we started, but it was in order to do the clothing that we got over here. Now, yeah, I just have us coming into here because it was easier. I fear we get caught in traffic if we actually tried to go there, but there's our clothing. So now the other thing we did, like once we started building over here, the clothing, we had gotten all of our lines electrified pretty well before this, and ended up doing the new farm location so that we could get more crops for both the clothing and at the time the vodka. Turns out the vodka uses a lot of corn. So that was it really, and then at the same time chemicals, and we started using up more and more with our bread and whatnot. So I think we're using all of the corn now. Okay, you're looping around this way. Where the heck are you going? Don't tell me we're going all the way back this way. Oh, geez, we're going to go through here. Okay, well that's... Yeah, well, you know what it does? I guess we have to get onto that other track. Let's send this train to his next stop so we don't sit here forever. Yeah, it's hard to get from one track to another is the problem. So now when we went up there the last time, we went on the main distribution loop, and this is one of the reasons I think it's like maybe even an unspoken reason that I don't have too many traffic issues. Like I think I ended up doing a fairly good job of separating out this corn loop from the regular loop. Like this little part here is actually one of the few places that it comes together. And then the other place it comes together is down by Chemsaw. And by the way, this is educational for me too, to see what this train has to go through to, and I'm pretty happy. I noticed some bushes on the tracks back there. Let's stay pretty close to the ground. There we go, past Old Revergrad. There's the radio station, and our original radio station was. Now you're gonna go this way. Okay. What are you doing, boy? This seems like a lot of going around in circles, doesn't it? Are you gonna loop through here now? Well, there you go. There's Revergrad distribution. Yeah, there's a loop around down here. Yep. Well, by the way, this loop around here was one of my original loop arounds. If you're going to build a track back and forth, especially if you don't have electrical track where they have to go to stations, you really kind of want a place or two for them to be able to turn around. So all of that, oh yeah, you can't get from that to there. We would need a track from here to there, but again, they're not. Now we're on the corn loop, I call it, right? This is like basically here. It does some gravel stuff, but it's mostly here to be able to get into this farm. Well, the farm's way up there. So that's why we had to go through all of that. Now, hopefully, what's our next stop after the farming? We're going to head up to Moo Ranch, which is on the same thing, good. And then after that, NR distribution, which is all the way across the map. So we'll see how that goes. But there you go. There's our new farm loc where we're heading to. As a matter of fact, you know what? I may even just now that we're here, let me see. Can I get there? Let's just keep going to Moo Ranch, because you guys probably don't need to pull into here. Probably could have just done a waypoint type thing. But there's our new farming loc. We could go in there, loop around. We could take crops right to the vodka. Oh, we're going in there anyway. Really? Okay. I guess you decided to go in here. I was just afraid we're going to get stuck behind another train. Yeah, that's the way back out, by the way. So, oh, we didn't go in there. Now, I think I might have just really sent us. Might have been better going into there. But, okay, well, here's where we can come in and get the vodka going. All right, this has all been redone. Our original farm was in this area. I think some of these fields were even part of it. But I moved it all to, like, a more centralized thing. Like, it was, the farm was like down in this area. And then the vodka was like jammed up against the city. This was before the days of pollution, right? So we ended up moving our vodka a little bit further away from the city. There we go. So now we're back on the right track. So yeah, this is separated. This is us going... Oh, okay. Actually, we're going back onto the main loop now. Oh, that's right, because Muscal... That's right. I'm thinking... We're not going to the Muscal farm. Probably would have been smarter for me to pick the Muscal farm, which was on the corn loop. Now, the only other positive about being on this loop is that we shouldn't do as much looping around at that point. And we're going to get to go through our new intersection. Not new anymore, but the fancy intersection. Drunken Bridge. That's what I called it. Kind of see the name up there somewhere. It was around this time that we built this gateway love distribution off to our right. Built this road over here so we could start building Muscal. Muscal, I should say, right? And then we'll head into here real briefly. So hopefully there's not a train in our way, but we can always send him on his way. Yeah, and I like this intersection. I know it's overkill, and in the grand scheme of things, I probably should have built this different, but I think it looks nice. And by different, I mean this track could have crossed over the other one without quite as many bridges. Might have worked out better, who knows. Yeah, so we're gonna have to send this guy on his way, right? Yeah, so I can't send him to a waypoint, so you kind of have to do this, huh? Make sure he goes to that waypoint. Now hopefully I didn't realize there was two of them there. Yep, okay, good. Smart enough to pick the right thing, but there you go. There's our live meat production and livestock farms. Well, that's our livestock farms. You need quite a few for one meat production. And there's Muscal. We can see our trolley dropping people off. I'm getting a little better with the camera, I think, as this goes on. And then now we said we're going to head over all the way to NR distribution. So we should go past Nueve Revergrad again. I think let's go into FPS camera, and I'll be quiet while we head all the way up there. Well, we're just about past the steel mills on our right and Nueve Revergrad on our left. Let's get out of this view. And you know what? I want to pause it for 1 second. Let me just see. Is there a setting? Custom UI. Can we turn off those yellow things? That's going to be control. Yeah, no, I don't think we can. I got out of that. Oh, I meant to close that. Let's go. All right, get our view back. All right, let's just keep playing. Because it really, I think, ruins the immersion when you have all the place names and all that. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll do another tour like this when the whole thing's over. But here we are. This was actually built, you know, alongside of pushing over towards Tagliati back there. I also started building this, realizing that if we were going to do distribution, this was the main, getting this NR distribution into place was a big part of it. Let's open this guy back up, bring him over here, and then yeah, we'll go up to Bricksville after this. But then that's when we started realizing by the time we started building all this and firing up, like I wanted to get a place that we could distribute food better to NR, and this, or to Nueve Revergrad, NR, right? That truck did a little glitchy thing. And so we were building this, and then I realized we're not going to have enough power, and we had coal mines over here, and I had thought about building bricks around the same time. Sort of all came together over months, in a way, you know, like many, many episodes. So we had, you know, Bricksville, and we had the possibility of getting a lot of coal. Now, I wanted to get more coal for our power, we needed, you know, better bricks. Like we were going to upgrade each of our industries to be better, right? Or a little more organized at the very least. And so this sort of turned into where we'd put more 4 power plants up here and turned into a pretty big construction project over this way. So here we are all the way on the opposite side of our fine Soviet, you know, we're about as far away as you can get from Nueve Revergrad, or Old Revergrad, I mean, where we first started out. Eventually we'll put another, this is where we just built we'll have another export to the Soviet here sometime soon, and then up on the hill there you can kind of see Bricksville. I think we'll be able to see it a little bit better when we come up to here. This is where eventually we'll take bricks out of, is I think where we're going. So this will be hopefully full of bricks one day, right? There's our brick factories with our power plants in the background, and you can't get to your next stop. Where's our next stop? Plaster City. Yeah, let's pause it for a second. Figure out why can't you get to Plaster City? Well, would it be a signaling thing right here? No, you should be able to get out here because we've had construction cranes. Why can't you come around this way? Where is it saying we're... Okay, so in other words... Oh, you know what? I think this is not electrified. You know what? Why don't we just go Plaster City over here? I don't think I can send him. Yeah, we can go to that waypoint. And then why don't we just finish up? We'll go through here. All right, can you get to your next... Oops. Can you get to your next stop now? Yes, good. So we'll just take a long run down River Run, and that'll be good for the tour, right? There we go. There's Bricksville, still partially in yellow. Now we're not really going up to our coal mines, but I think this has been quite enough of a tour. We're pretty good timing, right? 50-some minutes now into it. It's been interesting. I mean, I'm glad we did it. I've learned a little bit about how to record this. Like I said, next time I'd really like to get rid of, you see what I mean? I think it would be a lot more picturesque if we can get rid of those. So I'll look into, maybe you guys even know how to get rid of them. Like just don't display the city names. A lot of games have that kind of option. just for, I guess, this type purpose and all the construction things. I mean, some of them are probably could be deleted, but a lot of them are just, like when we were approaching Bricksville there, they're just active construction projects. Yeah, there's our grand bridge across the river. And, part of the thing that's happened to me is that they've made some improvements to the game, and I'm looking forward to our next... Oh, you won't go that way? What are you going up this way for? All right, well, you know what? This is enough. Let's just do the river run tour this way, right? So here we are. We got our oil refinery here by NR Distribution, and this is River Run, so we're buzzing along the river. It might even be better to do the tour like this next time, but it's cool to take a train ride, I think. Right? We'll kind of follow it pretty well. So this is the regular distribution line. On the other side of the river, there's you'll see the coal line here, right? And that's why there's two bridges. One is for the coal this bridge here is for the coal that gets dropped off at our steel mills right up the hill there. And then over here is Plaster City with our new prefabs production and our new quarries up on the hill there. We can get some stone out of here. This quarry feeds into that. But there we go, guys. That's a tour mostly by train. Sorry about that end thing, but I didn't feel like fighting with them the whole entire way, right? Just to get him to come over here. Kind of curious why he couldn't come right over to here. Maybe there's something I need to look into as far as the distribution. I haven't really paid enough attention in some ways to the trains if they're not all jammed up. So let me know what you guys think. If you want to see another one of these, if you didn't like it, have no fear. We're not going to do this too often. I thought it was maybe something a little bit different to do on a Saturday summary. So I hope you did enjoy it. Certainly a different way of looking at things. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.